the meeting of the Fair Oaks Recreation and Park District Board of Directors to order. It is the 1,434th meeting that we've had since we began.
Since Ralph was elected.
Since I was elected. Raymond James, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Jennifer, would you do the roll call, please?
Chair Carhart,
Here.
Vice Chair Tamani, here. Director Irwin,
Here.
Director Mounts,
Here.
Director O'Farrell,
Here.
all present.
All here, and we certainly have a quorum. This is the point in our meeting where we have audience or public comment on non-agenda items. Is there anybody in the queue there, Ian? No, I don't see anybody in the room here, so I won't read I don't think I have to read the disclaimer there. So as long as we have nobody got on yet, then we'll move to the consent calendar.
Motion to approve.
Well, second.
Yeah, any questions on it by anybody?
No.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Okay, here's the big one. 6.1, old business, we tabled in our last meeting, possible action regarding approval of a change order for Global Construction in the amount of $399,777 for the Village Park renovation projects. I'll let the staff give their report, but I want to say that the ad hoc committee for the project, Raymond James and I met and kind of instigated the request for some legal advice because this is above and beyond our understanding, as knowledgeable as we are. So we have this item on the agenda tonight to authorize the district administrator to work with the legal counsel to review the contract and the construction documents, etc. So Mike, would you like to take this over?
I'll take it. Thank you. Yeah, you did delay this for one meeting, and you did ask us to investigate a little further into this, including the ad hoc committee. And the ad hoc committee did recommend the attorney review. The attorney has reviewed the documentation. Basically, it's all the documentation that you have in your packet from the last meeting, which includes the construction manual, the board report, and the articles 14 and 15 from the construction manual, which are the two articles that primarily deals with this issue. There's a lot in that manual that has things that don't have anything to do with this issue. So they reviewed those, and then we talked once with the attorney over this issue, and they have agreed to come to the meeting. They're on Zoom right now. They're willing to discuss this, answer any questions, and go on from there. The intention tonight, if at all possible, will be for you to vote on the payment, to vote yes or no on that payment, or to guide us into a different direction if that's the way you so choose. So this time, right now, you're just getting information from the attorney, opportunity to ask questions, and then we can go from there. So if that's all right, I'll turn this over.
Before you do that, I note the recommendation is to authorize you to work with legal counsel to review the document. And it sounds like we've already done that. So this will authorize payment to the attorneys.
Yeah, if you'll go back to the bottom of the recommendation, it says, with providing a recommendation on the next course of action regarding change order number 165. Yeah, so you do have that next step in the board action on this board report.
Do we have to authorize that first when we get down to that point, or do we go directly to authorize payment of the change order?
You would be moving to pay the change order, correct?
Well,
If that's what you do, yes.
That'll automatically cover the attorney.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't know if you had that within your power to do anyway as administrator.
How many hours we logged with the attorney?
I'm not sure how long they reviewed or what their billing time is in relationship to the time that I spent. Or the time on.
They're on Zoom.
Yeah, that's it now.
Trying to get like what's the ballpark.
Yeah, that will figure what's gonna cost us for legal fees.
I'll have to defer to, again, they have a year on, right?
Yeah.
That's what
And-
Horowitz.
He's gonna answer, right?
And yes, and given that we have, $400,000 that we have lost knowledge for this, it's very important for us. I would note that in the 200 and some pages of attachments there were a few things highlighted in yellow.
Yes.
And I really want to focus on those because the more I read them, the more they sound just like standard change order stuff. And so I'm really have a lot of questions about why this is the way it is.
And those are highlighted by me. It was just information that you would, focus in on. That's something very related to what we're talking about.
Very good. Well, with that, can you introduce our attorney?
Yeah. Let me see if I can. Where's Josh? Josh, you able to hear us all right?
Yes, I can. Good evening.
All right.
Good evening.
As you can see, my name's Josh Horowitz. I'm with Barkowitz, Cronick and Shanahan. We've been the district's general legal counsel for a very long time. I'm worked with Dick Shanahan for many years and more recently with Andrew Ramos. So I'm actually the second most senior partner in the firm, and I've been general legal counsel to a number of agencies in the Sacramento area as well as throughout the state for many years. And I advise on construction matters on a regular basis. So I have spoken with Mr. Aho, and I'm aware of the issues and have reviewed some of the documents. And so I'm here tonight to talk with you about this issue, answer questions, and to give you my opinion about where we are and where I would recommend the district goes with this. So I'm open to how the board would like to proceed.
So is he saying that he's already gone through everything and he's going to tell us things, even though we haven't voted to get legal counsel's review? He's already reviewed?
That's correct. Yeah. So, to start this out, I did allude to those pages in Article 14 or whatever it was of the contract, whatever you call it, right? And when I reviewed those, having been involved in construction with the state for many years, it reads to me like a normal change order process where there's additional work to be done or something like that, and the contractor and the owner or the owner's rep agree to what that work is, what it'll cost, what the delay in the project will be, and that's done at the time that change order is made. Now, I understand in our case, we had some, we went back with the change orders to try to wrap up a bunch of changes we didn't see in real time. So, my question in my mind is why weren't those costs revealed and covered in the change orders in real time as they were approved? And I guess, if the process that we did was authorized through the contract documents and is normal practice, then that clears us to pay the claim. So we'd like to be assured that that is the case. Josh?
Yeah, and if I can back up for a minute, I did not do an exhaustive review on this. I mean, I understood what the board's direction was, but in order for us to advise if you should spend more time and resources on reviewing change orders or whether they're reasonable and within the process that's described in the contract documents, we did, of course, have to review the documents to some degree and have some discussion with your staff in order to understand what the situation was, what was going on. I mean, this is not a project we were involved with from the get-go. This is not a set of contract documents that we prepared, so I needed some background, obviously, in order to do this. But, what I can tell you is, based on what I've seen in my initial review, my discussion with Mr. Aho, and understanding that this has been a fairly extended discussion with the contractor and the result of a number of different issues that have come up in terms of time delays and related issues, that it appears that this process was reasonable within what the contract provides for. I would point out that we're talking about a change order that's about 2% or less of the contract total. And, what I see is a reasonable request based on weather delays and other reasons that Mr. Aho explained to me, and that was reviewed by your construction management company. And, the change orders were negotiated with Bobo, which is a reputable contractor. They asked for about $500,000, and your staff and the construction manager were able to negotiate that. So, I could certainly tell you that, we could review this further. We could send this out to a specialist firm and to have consultants independently review all of Bobo's supporting documents. But it's going to cost money and it's going to cost time. And, in my considered opinion, I think what you're going to wind up with is a recommendation that this change order is reasonable and within the contract, and you should go ahead and approve it. So I understand I'm shortcutting the process a little bit, but, based on my 24 years of experience, I just don't see that this is worth spending a lot of time and resources on.
James?
Josh, one of my big concerns was whether or not some of these change orders, again, what was the phrase, Mike, the blank versus blank, that the type of compensatory versus, yes. And that was my biggest concern, is where the change orders that they were requesting in this large amount lie. If it truly is under our scope as far as what we have to pay, or if it really isn't. And that to me was the biggest question. So can you speak on that?
As I read the documents and the change orders and, with Mr. Aho's input, I believe that what the contractor is requesting is within the contract. It would be compensable as, essentially the owner's responsibility, if you will, versus the contractors. As I understand it, the issues are related to weather delays and constructability concerns, and, as a general legal matter, as well as under the contract, those generally fall on the owner.
Is this common practice in the industry in contracts like this to have these kind of compendable? I can't say, you know what I'm talking about, delays. Because I was always under the impression that when you do a change order, you approve the time and the cost at that time, and when that's signed off on, that's all they get. You negotiate at the time the change is requested by either you or the contractor. Is that normal practice? Why is this coming so late in the process here?
It happens all different ways, but my understanding is that the requests were made some time ago. They were accrued, but there has been an ongoing dialogue between the district's staff and construction manager and the contractor on these things, and there was a negotiation to try to reduce the number of days and the amount of compensation. And my understanding is that was successful to some extent. So it's actually beneficial for the district. And in the district's representatives' discretion, if there's a reason to delay a final decision on a change order in order to benefit the owner, that's within the discretion and is a reasonable way to proceed in this type of situation. I mean, the other side to it is you wind up in a claim situation and you wind up in court or in an arbitration if you say no right off the bat, and that's way more expensive. I've seen construction disputes that cost $1 million in attorney's fees, and the owner still winds up writing a check because what the court and the arbitrators see is, are you working with a contractor who's performing and trying to get the job done and making reasonable efforts to do that? And are you getting the value that you negotiated for? And, based on what I've seen, and again, understand I did not do an exhaustive review of this because I understood that was not the board's direction at this point. You just wanted input on whether you should pursue further legal review and action on this.
Yeah.
But, what I'm trying to tell you is based on what I'm seeing, I don't think that's a good use of resources, and those resources would be better spent trying to move forward and continuing to work with this contractor who is reputable and is performing. And that's the best way to get the project done.
I hear what you're saying, Josh, and I think that makes sense. You can spend more money bickering over it. I wanted to ask Mike a question. First of all, how many change orders were approved that are covered by this? Just approximate number.
Two.
Just two?
Change order 1 and change order number 2.
But those were done after the fact to pick up a bunch of.
Those were done for the delays necessary. Remember when we had that jump in time frame?
Yeah.
That was November of last year. We had that jump, and you wanted to see, as a board, you wanted to see those dates, and specifically those dates, and how it would change the schedule.
Yeah.
The BOLO's not prepared yet at that point to put the cost estimation in.
I see.
That cost estimation came later. That's the
And that's what
$500+
we-
thousand
Okay.
that ICS then negotiated down to $399,777.
Got it. So my question is this, those two change orders, one was, I'm trying to recall,
They're on your packet.
one was exclusively for the time delay, the extensive time delay.
Change order 1 is for weather, rain, attachment A. So yes, which gives you the time frame. And number 2 is excusable time extensions for unforeseen. So they both are. One's for 76 days and one's for 92 days.
So I'm just trying to remember what those were. One was because we had a whole lot of rain days that they couldn't get in there and work. The other was for, I think, primarily the foundation problems.
It's still related to weather, but yes.
Did it include more than the foundation thing? It was accumulation of a bunch of little things,
No, it was primarily weather.
both of them?
Yep.
Okay, well, that's helpful.
Looking at the contract, it talks about how within 10 days of the occurrence of the event that causes the delay, they will notify us. I know you're saying that these two change orders, they cumulatively put them all together, but did they throughout this give us notice that they were going to be essentially doing these in small blocks?
I don't have that. So it would be through ICS also.
Well, it sounds
We knew it was coming in. Obviously, we're in rain and, we're not working. So we knew these were coming through.
It sounds
No surprise.
reasonable that, that it's because it was just a rain delay and not a change in the scope of work, that, that, there wasn't much negotiation on the time loss. What you did was you got them to agree, I think that 14 days of that delay were normal and should have been, figured into the, should have been expected.
Yeah, I don't know all of the items that were negotiated out, but it's substantial.
And was it Dave that ICS that did that negotiation?
It was ICS.
And if I may, this is pretty typical with a weather type delay or delay for other reasons that aren't the fault of the contractor. I mean, it's actually better for the owner to wait for everything to be accrued and accumulated so you understand the full scope and then you negotiate based on that rather than do it on a claim every day that the delay is occurring because of weather or something similar.
Now, it'd be really hard to do that anyway, because the rain continues, and so I can see that.
Right. I mean, you're going to have lousy weather in the winter potentially, and if a winter comes to pass where it's really wet and things get very delayed, you just generally wait until it's over, and then you do the adjustment after when you know the full scope.
So this process is somewhat, you can tell me this process is somewhat standard in the industry. It's not unusual, occurs in many contracts, the way this is played out.
That's correct.
Okay, well, that was my big concern. I didn't, Raymond James, do you have other concerns?
No.
Okay, any questions from Mel?
So the two change orders, so should we anticipate getting another one? So that will cover through the end of the construction period? Because what are the dates that they go through? I see the dates that they revised them, but I don't see like that it's from the date that they started through a certain date. And then that there would be, I know the weather was not as bad this year, but I'm sure they're possible.
It is possible. Chart, Excel chart.
My biggest concern is what will happen down the road if, for example, if the weather is bad and they can't pave the road and there's delays there, will we do this after the fact again, or will we have a better way of figuring our costs as we go along?
That's essentially my question. Or should we anticipate needing another one at the very end of the project?
Yeah.
That would cover whatever delays occurred between the time these change orders were generated through
On
the end of the
page
project.
198 is your rain days here. It gives you your days start December 2020, November
Okay.
2023
So through March.
through March 2024.
Okay.
So that's the full, that will cover, this claim will cover that. Now, let's say we have new either rain or pavement delays. Is there a better way to handle this process as we go along, Josh?
I would kind of defer that to the CM. They're probably better suited to answer that than I would be.
I think he's asking me to answer. I think you're asking me to answer, right, Josh? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. And yes, there probably is. Yeah, I can tell you every Thursday, these are dialogue questions that we have in our construction meetings, and it's all about: are we going to see, a challenge? How is this impacting our schedule? Whether it be, a curbing issue, the seating issue. Are we going to see something from the seating? It's a possibility. We've talked about that already in this meeting.
So I guess my concern is that the next time this happens, which is possible, that we get a heads up a lot sooner. So at the end of the project, we don't get hit with another $500,000.
And what couple of things you're seeing, and we're trying to eliminate some of that unknown and all that. Last November, when we had this issue, and you were concerned about the time jump, we said we will continually every month give you an updated schedule and time frame, and you're seeing that. You just saw it in your packet now, and it includes the last 2 months prior to this month. So you're seeing a 3 month on how the schedule is changing And in just a simple date, that's all you're seeking. Well,
Well, I remember the change order document that goes with the contract. It's not only time change, but it's dollar change. And that, when that's signed off, it would be great if there was a dollar change in there or a not to exceed or something.
yeah, and we have been putting those have been putting in, and you get those change orders. I think we got two this meeting, I believe, on this with no time extensions on it. But
And that will make a difference in the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
But some of them are so minor that you're not, there's nothing there. Others are more impactful to our schedule, which as you mentioned, I believe the road is going to, and we've been talking about, well, let's don't be surprised as the road continues to cause us grief.
It's fraught with risk.
Yes.
Josh, so you would, in short, you would recommend we bite the bullet and approve the request?
Yes, based on what I've reviewed, I believe the change order is reasonable and within contract, and given the circumstances, it would be something that you should go ahead and approve.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board of Josh, or are we prepared to make a decision?
I'm prepared to vote on it, but Mike, so the contingency for the overall project,
That's a great question that you're asking, John. I asked that question very early on as we were going through that 399, get to that figure. I said, can we utilize our contingency? And the smart move, I believe, is to say no, because if we can retain those for those incidentals and not blow through it, it would be advisable. Otherwise, we're going to have to come back to you for every single small contingency.
that's
So,
good answer. Okay.
So before we have a motion on this, and before we release Josh, do we have any public comment on this? If you could, do you have a form for him to put his name on there? Or do they need it for? Yeah. Is there a microphone over there?
I'll just talk about it. Yeah, it just goes there.
Yeah. Go to the microphone, because we do record.
There's a mic.
oh, no, it's being picked up on the surface, Mike. Yeah.
We good?
Yeah.
Start on the screen sheet is contingency plan. Yeah, so my name is Chet. I was just poking around on the internet and went through the June board meeting notes and then double clicked on the budget and was just going around there. So I think it's kind of relevant here. So like you guys approved a revised budget of like adding another like $500,000. Well, first off, I just wanted to like ballpark this. Okay, it's a $21 million project. You guys have spent $15 million so far. And I was just thinking, okay, what is this really worth? Okay, so about $500,000 can build you from scratch like a really nice house, a pool, some solar, 2-car garage. Okay, so this is about 40 houses worth of work being done. Now, okay, maybe I'm off by a factor 2. This is 20 houses worth of work being done. And I just look over there, I walk past every day. I just don't think it's 20 houses worth of work being done. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing, but I think it's a tool that you guys can use as a barometer of, are we getting F, basically. And so they wanted a 168-day project extension due to, quote, weather delays. So I kind of looked into that. They claimed 18 no work days in February. I could be wrong, but I think that means they literally worked 3 days and got paid $500,000 for those 3 days. Yeah. So, and if you look at like the historical weather data, it's not even a particularly rainy February. It's maybe 20% more rainy than a typical February. So if you were a competent project manager and you didn't just assume there was zero rain all winter, right? You would expect an average amount of rain, maybe even like give yourself some buffer, right? So I actually have a weather station too. I can send you this picture, but there was rain, but there was still plenty of time to work. Like I guess it just doesn't seem like this construction company has an incentive to actually do the job on budget, right? If their ass was on, or I don't know if I can say that, if their reputation was on the line, they get in there on the weekends if they had to, right? But instead they work 3 days, get paid $500,000, and are here asking apparently for another $500,000. And so, yeah, I guess that's, you look into February and it's kind of the same story. Or sorry, if you look into March, it's kind of the same story. So, I just don't know if it's, so just observing the meeting, I don't know if, is this typical is like the right question to be asking, because it feels, well, to me like, you guys are getting kind of screwed with the deal we're getting here. It's taking too long, it's costing even more and more. When you say, well, are we gonna get another one? It's kind of like, when are you gonna do another one over on me? It sounds like, oh, we won't, but like, I don't know who Josh is, maybe, or Mr. Horowitz, maybe he's the lawyer representing you or something, but like, he's probably just saying, look, this is how parks districts get shafted. This is how, this is within their legal right with the contract, which is perhaps unfortunate.
Well, thank you for your perspective. We're gonna have to end your testimony, but we appreciate you weighing in on that. There are a lot of things we could, answer. Mike, I don't know if that's appropriate here.
It's all up to you, but I'm also happy to talk with you about some of those statements.
I'm sorry, Chad?
Yeah.
What's the last name?
Workouts?
Corcos?
I did write a few notes here. So.
Have you watched any of our previous meetings in the past? or-
Yeah, are they recorded online?
Yeah.
I haven't seen them now.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, this is a big concern of all of us.
Yeah, I know, I
We've
figured.
asked these same questions, and we made these same analogies along the way, so we get it. And it's super frustrating. And the costs are incredible, but trust, I mean, if you go back and watch, I mean, we're not just rolling over and allowing all this to happen. I mean, we're asking the questions, but yeah, I mean, we're just as frustrated as a lot of the community is. I mean, it's a tough situation. We've had a lot of issues, a lot of delays, a lot of permit delays through Sac County, and I mean, there's a lot going on.
So if you just say no, like, what happens after that?
Well,
And
we
they will
said,
probably stop the construction and then we'll go to court because they're gonna sue us.
So that's another 3 years of nothing,
Yeah.
and you get to look at that, your dad gets to look at that, the community
Yeah.
gets to look at that.
Can you find another construction company to just finish it?
it
That's
wouldn't make any
Yeah.
difference.
We covered this in all of our
All of our
meetings.
meetings.
It's like,
Yeah,
so that's, yeah, we just don't want to start over from scratch and explain it. Like, I mean,
And again,
I understand your concern. And
well, that's what I'm here
it's
for,
our concern.
is ask this question.
I'll tell you what, I think Mike is offering, if you wanted to
That'd be great.
follow up with a discussion with the staff and they can attempt to alleviate some of your, or at least answer some of your questions. They can
Yeah.
alleviate things.
Like Chet, right? Is it
Yeah.
Chet? Like Chet, I came to last month's meeting, and I'm sorry, I came to the meeting 3 years too late, I feel like, because I feel like I really, I mean, I've been seeing this coming for 2 years now, but I'm just getting my asses to the meeting now. I wish I was here
Yeah.
sooner,
Well, I'll tell you what, this is,
but I have the same,
This is,
all the same concerns.
this is Chet's time to turn. If you want to give some testimony, I'll give you. some minutes.
Yeah, sure. Well,
Done.
No, I don't mean to take it. No, that's fine. I'm just
If you guys
trying
can
to add-
answer questions, we can bring it up. Yeah.
Everybody's.
Okay, well, hey, like I said, if either one of you want to talk with Mike, I'd be happy to join too. And
Yeah, that could be helpful as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
most of us have, at least I've had much experience, many years of experience with multi-million-dollar jobs. And this one is complex in the form of many different specialties that work there. There's every nature of work. And then we're also dealing with facilities that date back to 1902 and 1920s. We uncovered a lot of surprises, and those surprises take reviews by the county, which, not always as prompt as you want. Then there has to be approval by the utility companies. We had a lot of underground utility problems, and that throws a whole, what do you call it, a ripple effect down all the subs and all the people doing work. One other thing I'd say is, while we had rain, and I do think it was a prolonged rain, more than normal, that was the period of time where the project was mostly exterior preparation. of grading and all of that stuff, it had to be done outside. It didn't mean that we didn't continue work inside the building. There's a heck of a lot of stuff going on in the two buildings, a lot of construction there that the public doesn't generally see. So we'll expand on that later if you'd like to schedule a time, both of you. So thank you for your input. With that,
I do want to just say too,
Yeah.
on the record for anybody that is listening, to compare this type of a construction project to a home construction project or to virgin land or somebody buying a piece of land that has no pre-existing stuff that is a municipality is honestly, it is not an appropriate thing, and they're wildly different. So it's important that community, and we're again happy to show them what has gone through this, but there is no comparable type of somebody's building a 20 home project to this. And while the cost is a lot, and if you want to decide that it's based on a home, you can, but the community should know this is not that project.
I think that's a good point. You know, my dad was a home builder, subdivider, home builder. Houses could go up a heck of a lot faster and with a very standard procedure, you know, and you can put them up in quick array. And John, you probably have had more complex projects than this that you were overseeing.
Is
So,
it okay if I piggyback
Building
on
airport for
what you guys are saying here, or is that
No.
outside of your
we got to
protocol?
cut this off and go on, but you can talk to us later on this. We do, you know, appreciate the
Oh,
input, so
I-
thank you.
And just on the weather note, it was the largest winter since 1957. If you go back and look at it, so I mean, not,
Yeah, I mean,
not in our favor, obviously, but that,
largest winter, yeah, I guess,
yeah, we had over 900 days. So,
that's snow though.
well, but
I was talking about Sacramento,
Well, if you want to-
the Sacramento
rain.
Airport,
yeah,
is the weather station now, is if it is.
yeah, I think it's the largest since 1957.
Okay, we're gonna have to move on with this item, but again, we're happy to meet with you, show you the plans. If you don't think it's complicated, you can see the reams of plans we've got. So, thank you again. Now, back to the board here. We have any more questions for Josh, or should we just?
Yeah, no. Sorry, put me on ice for a while. Yeah, please.
Then, Josh, thank you very much for your help on this. Send your bill to Mike.
You're welcome, everyone. Good night.
I gotta tell you, Dick Shanahan was our pro bono attorney for many years before we started hiring you guys.
Yes, I know he was. He's a good guy, better than me. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Bye now.
Thank you.
I also just want to say that they have been a great firm, GKS. It's been a great firm to work with. I enjoy working with them. They're very responsible. So anyway, I just want to thank you all.
They've been with us a long time. So do we have any motion? We can have some discussion if there's any seconds. Or do you want discussion for us? Okay, more questions for Mike?
If there are none, I'll make the motion to approve the change order amount in the amount of $399,177 for the village park renovation project.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, now comes the fun part, discussion. You all comfortable that we've gotten the answers, the only answers we can get? I think for me, the fact that, I know from my years with Caltrans, when you get down to claims and everything, my friend who was the head of construction said, if you want to challenge it, probably look at a big legal action. So that would certainly cost more if not. I don't think it would accomplish anything. So I will vote for the motion.
The bottom line is that you're probably not going to win.
Right. Any other discussion?
I think based on the legal, recommendation. The wisest thing would be for us to pay this and continue to move forward and not cause any more delays for our review. And I think we've done our due diligence to check it out enough and show our concern.
Linda, you agree to? Okay. Well, with that, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? I hear none. Any abstentions? I hear none. Okay. And Mike, do you need anything separate? I think you can pay the bill for the without a motion.
Yeah, both things, yeah, the attorney bill and and then the 399 cents.
Okay, you don't need a separate motion for attorney.
It's just cost of doing business, so.
Okay. Okay, with that, let's see. We have a rather short agenda tonight, 6.1 was it. So we have a public hearing on 7.1, which is the that's vote on the special assessment districts to adopt these resolutions. So
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, at this point, we open a public hearing on this. Let's, you want to make the presentation while I call it the staff report here?
Sure. So this is the third step in the assessment district process. This public hearing is an opportunity for any member of the public who have questions or want to discuss the fees that have been laid out in the staff report. This is their opportunity to come before you speak on those. We also have Brandon Newman here from SCI, who is the firm that we use to prepare the reports that were included in the packet. And I will let him say the word.
Yeah, well, good evening. Don't have a whole lot to add. This is our annual process. We've been doing this assessment for as many years as I can remember. We're certainly happy to answer any questions if any come up. But other than that, no further comments.
So the next step would be to adopt, once the public comment is closed, you would then want to adopt the resolution so that these assessments can appear on task list.
Okay. When do we put in our own, do we ask for public comment first and then have our own questions? Okay. Is there anyone here who would like to speak or anybody online that would like to speak to the approval of the three assessment districts we have? No? Anybody on the board here?
And actually, I think it's more for Jennifer. Are the revenue estimates that were provided by SCI, have you already incorporated those into the budget? Yes. Okay.
And when I was looking over the consent calendar, I was looking at the expenditures and the revenues on the three assessment districts. I just had a question in my mind. I'm not an accountant, but do we have a pretty good balance between what we bring in from each of, particularly the Phoenix Park and the Gum Ranch one? Do we have a good correlation between what they pay and what we put in?
Yes.
Because I want to make sure that we're
Gum Ranch is a little.
Yeah, and I can speak, and Sean maybe will chime in too on Gum Ranch. Gum Ranch, we're early in the assessment district, so a lot of the expenditures which we would spend for assessment districts like that come with longevity. You know, you're replacing this, you're doing more maintenance on that, whatever it is. With it being a newer park, it allows us to build up a little bit of a reserve. So when we have something, and we have something going on right now there, and we are spending money on that we hadn't planned on, which is our security issue. We're dealing with some security issues with some ongoing vandalism. And so we've increased our security presence there. I won't say what we're doing, but we've increased our security presence. And so hopefully that eliminates some of those vandalisms. And we're having to pay for those vandalisms that occur, whether they smash a sink or break a picnic table. Those are the things that we're doing. We're able to do that because we have collected funds and then reserve them for those types of things.
is this a big problem or a continuing problem in Gum Ranch Park?
It is one of the hot buttons in Gum Ranch. Yes, it's more than any other park right now.
Is it related to the apparent homeless those camps that are out by Kenneth, down in the creek.
It may be part of that. There's other issues as well. It may be part of that too.
Just out of curiosity, how much did the revenue grow year over year for Gum Ranch? Because I know they're selling a lot of those homes and they're built, is it all built out?
No, there's,
Okay, so there's still like a lot more. Do we,
I believe it only grows 3% a year. That's what's built into the assessment.
no, but each time a home sells, we have more.
Yeah,
We add that to the whole.
Oh, got it. Okay.
yeah, well, in the meantime, the developer is paying the fee, right?
For the ones that are.
So, and they're paying that on the value of the land or on the each unit, right? each lot.
Like parcel.
So, yeah. So we're not getting more revenue as people buy the homes. It's the same revenue.
No, we're getting more tax revenue.
Oh, tax revenue, yeah.
They buy them.
Yeah. So, on that one in particular, we're not spending as much as we're getting in so that we can build a reserve for maintenance, but we are spending on ongoing repair.
Yeah.
It's the same at Phoenix Field.
Yes, Phoenixville doesn't have an escalator, so that is the same amount every year.
But I mean, are we spending the full amount we did?
Yes,
And it's a,
yes. We only get about $50,000.
Ideally, beyond just doing maintenance repairs, there's things that could be done to improve the areas, leveling out the lawn area and Madison Place Park, maybe adding more pickleball courts or dog park or gardens or something like that. That can all be funded out of the assessment. Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion here. Well, I guess we do all three in one.
First, you have to close the public hearing.
Oh, yes, that's right.
the motion was a public hearing.
You got a second?
I don't know if I made the motion. I think John and I said it at the same time. I'll second it. John made the motion.
Okay, John made the motion. Darren seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Now I'll entertain a motion. And hopefully we can put all three resolutions in one motion. That's correct, Jennifer?
Yeah. So I'll make a motion to adopt resolution numbers 071724-01, 071724-02, and 071724-03. Approving the engineer's reports for the purpose.
Good. Is there a second? Is there a second? Well, okay. Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. No opposed? No abstentions? Okay, well that ends the active items tonight. So now it's on to board and staff reports.
Just advice to those of you who haven't refiled yet, and refile, get in there early in the morning. It's not very crowded at all, but it does take about an hour.
Yeah, 4 years. It's still a branch, all right.
Yeah.
Or,
Still
down
out.
60.
No, it's off 65th,
Off the
right
main
off of Florida.
Far away as to put it.
Yeah, I don't remember being that far. It's.
And I've always found that the statements are worth spending the money on. Apparently, they've gone up tremendously.
Oh, really?
Have they? I haven't done one since I was elected in 2008.
Who told me they were now 1,100? You check that out. I think they used to be 400.
I would do.
What?
Speak for a minute.
I found it.
This is a really pertinent.
So, is that it, Don?
Yeah.
Okay, Linda?
I don't have anything to say.
There. Okay. Okay. Well, I wanted to, ask staff something. We have a community partner who has worked with us for many, many years, along with her late husband, bringing entertainment to the village, doing a lot of capital improvements and stuff. This community partner, Barbara Sestito, has recently retired from the Theater Festival Board, and as president, Kathy Smallhouse has taken over it, at least for the time being, as the Theater Festival person. And I would like to ask for support if we have the staff honor her at our next meeting, if you can forward a little meeting with thank yous for all of her hard work. So,
She's got her property on the market.
does she?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That place is worse than my house. She's got more stuff than I do.
Pretty much any for this.
So that's good with everybody.
Yeah.
Good.
A little, get her like.
Yeah, we can definitely do proclamation and then some kind of appreciation item each year, so choose. I'll also try and get the county to do a proclamation and potentially, like Josh Hooper, I'll see if we can get some of those in there. And I would just, also offer, the option to us at least, is to check with Barbara first, see when she's available, whether it be the August, September meeting, and making certain that she's.
You'll make the invite and
then report back.
Put it in our agenda when the time comes. Yeah. Yeah, good.
It's wonderful, I think.
Okay, very good. The only other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if Sean is here. Yes, Sean's up on the board. My last review through Gum Park, I noticed there's several really big dead trees in the pedestrian areas, and it would be nice to get those things down before they fall on somebody, you know. So I'd be happy to show Sean. He probably knows where they are already. Other than that, no complaints, no more criticism. So I'll turn that over to the staff, Mike, for your report.
Jen, you have anything?
No.
You? Jen? And I'll just real quick. I went over the site today, looked inside facilities. They're doing, which is real fun. I'll send you a picture of it, but they're doing the floorboards inside the clubhouse. It doesn't sound like much, but when you see it, it's like, oh, that looks really good. And so they're also doing the grid above the stage of the amphitheater, which will include the black box when we close the doors. And that grid it's substantial, because we'll be hanging lights and everything from that. So they're putting the cross and the vertical and the horizontals in there. And so it's definitely a big job as they're putting these in. If I understood it right, each of those squares is a 2-foot open. That's over the whole length of the room, of the ceiling inside. So it's a lot. It's kind of neat to see.
And that's just in the Black Box Theater.
Yeah, and it'll also be used for the stage when we open the door.
Yeah. The community rooms have regular ceilings, I guess.
Yeah, and the cupboards are going in there right now. It's kind of interesting to see these more finishing touches taking place.
Can I ask, brief us on what's happening with the seats right now?
It's under county review currently, the plan. And we're going to bid on the seats, and everything else is going ahead, but we can't do anything until we have the county.
Yeah, so all the contract documents were completed by Kim. It's been submitted along with fees and everything.
So hopefully soon.
Very good.
Did the county, do they ever provide like a time frame when they think they will get that?
I haven't seen one, but that doesn't mean they don't do it.
Should laugh like that, but yeah.
Okay.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn to the meeting of August 21st?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.